So Alice, please finish
Yes.
what you were saying, and then I want to talk about some other things in relation to the environmental impact report itself.
Yes. So as I was saying, once Santa Clara County releases the draft environmental impact report, they will have an opportunity for the public to submit written comments, and they will also have a public hearing at which people can attend in person and make oral comments. And during the break, you asked if there's an opportunity for people to send in comments right now. People can submit emails to the county now. That's not going to be part of the environmental impact process, but it's information that the county receives and takes into account as they're making their decision.
All right.
So we definitely encourage people to comment now if they want to to comment on the environmental impact report when that comes out, and just to make their voices heard in every way that they can, because this is a public process, and the county wants to know how the public feels. That's the whole point of this process. So everybody should feel free, and you don't have to live in Santa Clara County. Folks in Santa Cruz County, in the city of Santa Cruz, folks from anywhere around the state, around the country, if they want to, can submit comments. And so we don't have the contact information for that right now, but if people want to send in something right now, they can go to the protectjuristac.org website.
Beautiful.
And there's a petition there where people can fill out the petition,
Good.
and they can send in their own words. They can simply sign under the petition. There's a lot of different things people can do.
There's also a resource section on the website, Protect Juristac, and that resource will tell you where to mail your letters to the County Board of Supervisors and to the county planners.
Now, as tribal chairman, do you have, as really a point person for this, do you have some interaction with the Board of Supervisors or the folks who are actually preparing the environmental impact report itself?
Well, under AB 57, we requested formal consultation with the county planning department on this. And one thing that we did request was that they do an ethnographic study of Juristac to show how it is an important and significant part of the Amah Mutsun spirituality and culture. And that study was completed, and it's still confidential. But we do encourage people, once the draft EIR comes out, to read that ethnographic study or the cultural resource part of that report, and they will see how strong the Amah Mutsun ties are to Juristac. And there's a lot, we believe that there is a lot of justification there that shows the importance of protecting Juristac.
And I know that much of the content of any environmental impact report is very technical. Stuart, are they asking you as an expert to offer some opinion about this particular issue?
Yeah, I'm going to be going through certain sections with a fine-tooth comb.
Okay. There you go.
Addressing issues like the wildlife connectivity and the wildlife linkage. Then also the impacts on the Sargent Creek watershed, like I was starting to talk about earlier. They're going to be digging pits that are hundreds of feet deep to get to this sand and gravel resource. And the vast majority of the area is going to be in the Sargent Creek watershed. Well, the Sargent Creek watershed is home to a rather unusual population of California red-legged frogs, which are listed as a threatened species by the federal government and the state government, because it's unusual in that pre-European contact, the red-legged frogs were like everywhere in the valley bottoms, in the wetlands, in the vernal pools. And since we've developed all of the vast majority of the valley bottoms, these frogs have been relegated to the foothills and generally in stock ponds. Finding a population living in an undisturbed watershed is actually relatively rare in this state, and gives us a sense of what the ancestral condition was, much more so than frogs living in stock ponds. And these the there are two pits that they're talking about digging out that are hundreds of feet deep that are on like either side of Sargent Creek, and they're going to be making the claim they're not going to be affecting the creek because they're not right in the creek. And that has downstream effects because Sargent Creek flows into the Pajaro River. Right now, it's providing probably the highest quality water possible. And when you start digging pits that are hundreds of feet deep, disrupting the local aquifer, and it's going to have a lot of
No, it's a
downside.
nettlesome problem, and people don't understand what crucial part watersheds play in not only our water supply but our environment. And
Yeah.
So, we have a great coastal watershed council here in Santa Cruz County, as you know, and they're very much stewards of that of our watershed. Val, I wanted to ask you. Part of the information that Tony sent me, voluminous information about Juristac and Amah, Mutsun and yourselves. There's a wonderful address to the United Nations. So you are taking the lead role as tribal chairman in this and in other ways for your tribe?
Yes, I did present the issue of Juristac at the United Nations,
Which I think is just fantastic.
and brought it to the attention of the world community that the destruction and domination of Native Americans in California never ended. It just evolved to these immoral laws, rules, and regulations that we see today that have no regard at all for our cultural sites, our spirituality, our environmental sites, our indigenous knowledge, and even our humanity.
Yeah.
There's no regard for it whatsoever. And we, in our tribe, and I was directed as chair when I was elected, it's time for that to stop. And we need to start speaking out. We are no longer going to be invisible, and no one's going to get a free ride regarding the destruction of our property anymore. And we're fighting not only Juristac at this time, but there's other proposals out there that we are objecting to that also impact important cultural sites and sacred sites as well.
And Alice, you were talking about the legislative aspect of this and your work with that. What form does that take?
Well, in this case, we're going to be meeting with the county supervisors and the planning commissioners and letting them know how the public feels and how all of the organizations and community leaders that are standing with the Amah Mutsun to oppose this quarry, we're going to be letting them know all of the details. We're going to be examining the environmental impact report and looking at what it details in terms of what it's going to be doing to this area. As Stu said, they're talking about 4 open pits, hundreds of feet deep. They're talking about miles of truck haul roads, conveyor belt, a 14-acre processing plant. The project description that's on file with the county says that they're going to be pumping around 76,000 gallons of groundwater each day for quarry operations. That's a lot of groundwater to be pumping out. And this is all in service of sand and gravel, right? They're destroying a sacred site and a critical wildlife corridor for sand.
Right. And I ask the obvious question, is there no other area, no other place where they could be mining for sand and gravel other than Juristac?
There are sand and gravel quarries in existence right now in our area. The state of California has estimated that we have about 20 to 30 year supply of sand and gravel in the Bay Area to meet our needs.
Right.
There is no need for a sacred site to be destroyed in order to provide sand and gravel.
Well, let me ask you that in your negotiations, discussions with the Board of Supervisors, the Planning Commission, do you have a sense of their understanding of the importance of these tribal lands and sacred spaces?
Yeah, we've certainly made a point of making that known to them. We do believe that they understand the importance of it. As we keep saying, the problem is that our current laws and regulations don't necessarily take into account the spiritual importance of Native American sites.
Right.
But we believe that there are good and responsible people at the county who understand this and who will take action on it. And it's just important for everybody in the public to let them know how important it is to everybody here.
Let me make one point
Please,
on that, if
Val.
you don't mind.
Yes.
Because what I've been raising with the County Board of Supervisors recently is that the United Nations I spoke at a conference on genocide in San Diego the week before last.
Right.
One of the definitions of genocide is the destruction of spirituality. I believe that what the county is doing here is genocide. Well, it qualifies as genocide for the impact it will have on the Amah Mutsun tribal people. And and so the county needs to realize that and recognize that that if they vote for the mining permit, that they are approving genocide, and that is no different than those people that passed the early laws that allowed the paying of bounty money, or paying or passed the laws to hunt down Indians and kill them. There's no difference here. It's that same mentality, that same destruction and domination, and total disregard for Native Americans as human beings.
And I do have some knowledge of the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors, and they seem, from what I have read and seen and understood, and people I've talked to, are relatively enlightened about certain things, about social justice and some things. Although I don't know this necessarily falls into social justice, but certainly it's an area in which had an enlightened approach would certainly benefit everybody, including your tribe.
I agree totally.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And we're hoping that a dynamic group like this, it's interesting, when Tony talked to me about having the show, and he gave me the list of panelists, and I was saying, well, geez, and looking at your backgrounds and the strengths that you each bring to this particular issue, the unity that you have with this, I think there's every reason to believe that you will be successful in your endeavors here. And I think that's really a credit to all of you. It's interesting. It's such an eclectic group, with the spiritual.
We're just representatives
Yes.
of a much, much larger coalition.
There is a
here.
huge coalition. We're
That's nice to know.
a huge community of people who
Yeah.
are behind us.
Importantly, and your viewers, and probably very important to your viewers, is that we have a Friends of Juristac group here in Santa Cruz.
All right.
And we have another one in San Jose as well. So if people want to get involved, we said they can sign the petition or write letters. But another excellent way to get involved is to get involved with the Friends group.
Yeah.
And they can stay up to date on that.
Can they do that by going to the website? And is there some way to enroll, or is there some information? Here's the website.
There is a Friends of Santa Cruz website as well.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and I don't know the URL, but I'm sure that if they Googled Friends of Santa Cruz, that it would come up. Oh, I'm sorry, friendsofjuristac.org.
That's great. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
And I know that it's really crucially important, as we talk about some things that are really spiritually enlightening, to be mindful of the grind that is the bureaucratic process, and that is the environmental impact report, and the importance of people when the draft EIR comes out to make their comments, to make their feelings known, to put as many comments in there as possible in support of these tribal lands.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Because it does and can make a difference. I was talking earlier, I think perhaps to Stuart, about the desal plant that they had proposed to build here in Santa Cruz, and went through an environmental impact report, and they had hundreds of comments from people just saying, expressing their views about that particular project, and it does change minds. It does make a difference, and I think that's really important. And to have opportunities such as tonight, to have people say, "Well, I'm thinking about this now, and I'm going to frame, my address to make a comment when this particular thing comes up." So it's important.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so I'm sure they will. But again, I think it's interesting that you have Stuart and Alice and yourself are all bringing a little bit of different perspective to this, and I think in any successful coalition of people, then that's important. But it's also, I think, important, as I've seen over time, have strong leadership. And from what I saw in the wonderful videos and information that Tony sent me, that you are that leader for the Amah Mutsun.
I'm the elected chair, and the elders have directed me to be the voice and to speak out for tribal issues. Yeah. Yes.
And you are doing this daily in all the various things that affect the tribe?
I was elected chair when I was 51 years old.
And you're 52 now?
Almost. Almost. And when I was 53, I was so busy, I retired.
Is that right?
At age 53, and I've been just making it work somehow.
Yeah.
To get by with the retirement at age 53. But I work hard. Well, the tribe works hard. It's not just me. The tribe works hard every day.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're all working hard on this. Anything else that comes to mind when we're talking about this particular environmental impact, the sacred lands, the
How about the
Stuart?
hydrology?
Please.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, I basically say if this goes through, Sergeant Creek, rest in peace if that's possible, because you simply can't dig multi-acre, hundreds of feet deep pits and maintain the hydrologic integrity of that. And like I said, it feeds into the Pajaro River. Right now, it's in an intact state. It's providing high quality water at a rate dictated by Mother Nature.
Right. Yeah.
And it's going to be a really, really different place if these sand mines go in. So there's there's the draft EIR, but then they have to get all of the permits from the regulatory agencies. So we have the Regional Water Quality Control Board. We have the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service because of the threatened red-legged frogs. We have the California Department of Fish and Wildlife that can weigh in not just with the frogs, but also with the wildlife connectivity, because the badger is a species of special concern. And as I was saying earlier, the local puma populations have been proposed for listing under the California Endangered Species Act. And there are multiple layers of permits that have to get signed off on. And it's a much less public process, but there are opportunities to intervene in that. I hope it doesn't get that far.
Right.
But the wildlife agencies and the Regional Water Quality Control Board have the ability to stop the project if they decide that the mitigations are not appropriate and to scale.
Anyway, there's something else I think that is important to point out for your viewers, is that because this site is such a high priority for conservation, there's public and private funding available to purchase the entire site for conservation.
Really?
There is.
There is.
That is an option that is available to the landowners. Rather than pursuing this quarry permit, they could right away today sell this land, the entire site, all of it that they own, including the site where the quarry is proposed, for permanent conservation and protection.
And they'd make a nice profit. They're just...
So what is their disincentive to doing that?
Haven't asked them, but I can only assume that it's because they believe that they will realize more profits if they get the quarry permit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it's an important point that you make, Stuart, that much of the AAR process is very complex and highly technical, and not the least bit transparent. So if you really want to know, you have to kind of get behind, where this, all the white papers and all the studies and all the things that are necessary to form this opinion, which basically is what an environmental impact report is.
Right.
But if you really have the knowledge, I wanted to ask you, Alice. the Committee for Green Foothills, is that something that there's a group of you? Is that you work with some folks in that group?
Right. Well, we work with all of the local environmental organizations.
Oh, okay.
Here. We work with the Amah Mutsun. We work with community organizations in the Bay Area as well.
Okay.
We work in San Mateo County and Santa Clara counties.
Oh, you do?
So we're very local.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've been-
Local and
how long?
effective.
When were you
Since
established?
1962.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well,
Been
Stuart
around a
says
long
you
time.
have been effective as well, so that's
Extremely effective.
Well, again, we don't work alone. We have many
Yeah.
partners. We work with the Sierra Club, Audubon Society, Greenbelt Alliance, Native Plant Society. There are a lot of environmental groups that we work with on a lot of different issues, including on this one. All of the local environmental community is united in saying that we need to protect Juristac and we need to defeat this quarry proposal.
And you find, Val, as tribal chairman, that you're getting some support from a lot of the environmental groups that are very interested in this issue as well.
Absolutely, we couldn't be more pleased with that. We knew that they would see Juristac as important from an environmental point of view, but after our discussions and stuff, they understand the spiritual aspects as well. So
Yeah.
whenever they speak out, they speak about those as well. So we're very pleased and happy with that, and we think that we can work together on a lot of issues in the future, concerning indigenous, regarding indigenous, concerns in the future. We have there is a statement of opposition out there that we are asking people to, organizations to sign up for as well.
Fantastic. All right.
And
Wonderful.
I don't have that now, but that is on our website
Okay.
at Protect Juristac,
All right.
and they'll see the statement of support there.
Okay.
And we ask them, individuals, to sign up, but it's important for organizations to sign up as well. And so we hope to just really add to that.
Yeah. Yeah, we would definitely encourage people to people can go to protectjuristac.org and sign up there to receive the emails. They can go to our organization, Committee for Green Foothills. That website's greenfoothills.org. If you sign
Okay.
up to receive our emails, then you'll be notified when the draft EIR comes out, so that you'll get the information on how to submit public comments on that. So there's a lot of different ways that people can show support, but just to get involved in the fight.
Right.
Get involved in the fight, and there will be a way that you can show your support.
Well, again, that's one of the reasons why we do these programs. One of the reasons why we like to have them live, so people are sitting in their living rooms all around Santa Cruz County, thinking about this. If they haven't been thinking about it before, they weren't aware of it before. Stuart, where can people get a hold of the wit and wisdom of?
I
Stuart Weiss. Everybody seems to have some
I'll
contact
forward
point.
no.
So are you in private practice?
Yeah, I'm in private practice.
Okay.
So, I work for just about, anybody who has a need for some expert conservation.
Yeah.
For me, it's been a real pleasure an honor over recent years to, get to know Val and what the Amah Mutsun are trying to do. Because as I said earlier, we're living off this legacy of his ancestors tending the wild in California and creating, just an amazing ecosystem that we just take for granted, and understanding how they have, they manage this landscape sustaintably for thousands and thousands of years, and we are not
so well.
stepping up. Yeah, we're not stepping. We're trying, but it's really an uphill battle to try to maintain the integrity and restore the integrity of the, the.
I'd like to add.
Please.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead,
Oh.
please.
Santa Cruz, the people of Santa Cruz, they do have an interest in a vested interest in Juristac. 1,800 acres. Juristac today, it's about 6,400 acres. Of that, 1,800 acres are in Santa Cruz County. And so, keeping Juristac as a whole and stuff like that, and returning it as a sacred site and as a cultural site. It will have great impact and benefits for Santa Cruz County as well, because a lot of the interest programs that we can do out there, the way we restore the habitat, the way that we take care of the plants, the food plants, medicine plants, those right there will help the Santa Cruz County as well. Plus the water, the water is a big thing, because from the sand mine, the water's going to come right down the Pajaro.
So our viewers should consider contacting our local officials,
Yes.
our board of supervisors, our
Absolutely.
local environmental groups, our local policymakers and gatekeepers, and tell them what they believe is the importance of this.
Thank you for that.
particular-
Absolutely
Yeah.
true.
And certainly you out there, that's what you can consider doing this evening, tomorrow. If you want to write a note to any one of our 5 supervisors here, please do. Tell them you've learned something on the community television about a very important issue. We've got about 2.5, 3 minutes left. Val, any final thoughts for our viewers as we go out and kind of digest what we've said and heard this evening?
Our history was tragic, and we don't blame the people, but there's a lot of healing that has to occur. And a lot of that healing is with the institutions and the systems that are out there that led to that destruction and domination of Native Americans. But at the same time, everybody who watches this show will benefit from that brutal history. And it's important that, and what we ask them to do is to help us restore our traditions, help us restore our health, help us restore our spirituality and our culture. Work with us. The knowledge of our ancestors is important if we're going to survive in the future. And that's the message I would like to give them.
Thank you. That's beautifully said. And I will say again that you have a wonderful coalition of folks here. And this is a group, I think, that can protect Juristac and make a difference in that. So, Stuart, Weiss, thank you so much for being
thanks
here.
for having
Alice
us.
Kaufman, thank you for being here and your group. Val, Tribal Chairman Amah Mutsun, thank you so much for being here, sharing your thoughts, and what I think is a spiritually uplifting opportunity for people to engage in something, and we don't often have that here. We talk about politics and elections and some things that may not impact the soul as much as we'd like, but tonight I think we've been able to touch our viewers with that. And we thank you for that. Thank you all for being here. And thank you for being here. This has been another episode of Voice from the Village. We'll be back next month to talk about some other things, but for now,